Do you ever feel like you're failing because your kids say they don't like homeschooling? Yeah, I've been there too. And I want to share a secret with you that I have learned over the 20 years of homeschooling 6 kids. So stick around to the end and I will tell you what you really need to hear. Hi, I'm Nancy Marie Peterson, and I've been homeschooling for 20 years. I have 6 kids. I have 5 that have graduated, and I have 1 left homeschooling. And so I have done homeschooling in a lot of different ways. I actually have a background in education. I was a teacher. I know how to be creative and how to do cool science lessons and to do reading and lap booking and all that fun stuff. And there's certain years that allow us to do that. And that is the reality with homeschooling. Let me just jump right in and say it. Homeschooling isn't always fun for your kids. If you ask kids who are in regular schools, most of them, I would say almost all of them would say they don't love school. They love the social aspect of school, or they like this part of school, but they don't love the actual learning. You don't really love it until you get old enough to really appreciate it. So are we striving to do something or to achieve something that's not even possible? So I want you to have your expectations just a little bit altered and a little bit shifted, because I think the truth is homeschooling, when you think of the big picture of homeschooling and you think of your kids, you want your kids to love homeschooling, love being home with you, and love being able to do school at home. You want them to embrace it fully and to be excited about it and to love when you give them a lesson on this. And I used to think that if I homeschooled like math science and if I did these cool experiments, they would love it, because the idea of experiments seems so exciting to me. But the reality is sometimes they flop, sometimes they don't work out, sometimes, and I bought boxes and boxes each year of homeschool supplies to do the science experiments. And to be honest, many, many years we didn't do them because we either didn't have time in our schedule or they didn't just naturally take place, whatever the reason was. And so I struggled and I sought after and I tried to make schooling something that it wasn't. And I had to sit back and really evaluate, what is the point of homeschooling? Is homeschooling to make schooling fun for them? Is that my goal? Is that my main objective? Or is my main objective to help them be smart, to be resourceful, to be responsible, to learn on their own? What is my objective? So when you look at your objective instead of what the response is, maybe in that moment or in that season, you can get off course and you can start spiraling and you can listen to lies and you can start believing things that aren't true. So when you sit down, you ask your child, do you enjoy homeschooling? What are you looking for? What do you want them to say? And not that you can't do a little more fun things in homeschooling, not that you can't take fun field trips or do those fun science experiments or do some cool things with math. Now, the truth is, as a teacher, I can tell you the early grades are way easier to be creative and to do all this fun stuff. If you have a child who loves to write, yeah, they're going to love writing. If you have a child that loves to do math, they're going to like the math portion. If you have a child that loves science, they're going to dig into the science. But if your child doesn't like that subject or doesn't like this or the curriculum you've chosen, you can run into this kind of misconception of what it should turn out to be. So let me just kind of give you a little bit broader idea about this. So if I look over my 20 years of homeschooling and I think of each child and their diverse differences in their interest in what they love, what the components that we love about homeschooling is that we can do it independently, that we can get it done in a lot less hours than they could if they were in school, that we have the freedom to explore things like my son's into computers. So he has built computers and he's even sold computers and he's had more time to do some of the things that he loves to do. We can go skiing midweek because we can adjust our school. So when you think of homeschooling, don't compartmentalize it. They love the subject that you're teaching them at that moment. Look at the bigger picture. What components do they love? And when you think on those things, I think about in Philippians when it talks about what sort of things are true, what sort of things are right, what sort of things are lovely. Think on these things, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what you want to think of. When you back it up with your kids, have them focus on what they like about homeschooling. What are the good components that are a part of it? And what does it allow them to do and be? I think of my kids were able to graduate early. We were able to be on the mission field because we were homeschooling. There's so many things that we got in our lives because of the yes to homeschooling. So if you're contemplating or you're feeling bad about being a homeschooling mom because your kids don't love school, I challenge you to ask other kids, ask if they love school. Most of them will answer with no. They love maybe the social parts of it. They love maybe one part of it. That is the reality of school. A lot of times we don't get excited about learning until later on in life, until it makes more sense. A young girl that we knew growing up, she was the age of my daughter, and she struggled in school, and she tried to do college right out of high school, and she just struggled and just didn't get good grades and kind of didn't fail out, but didn't do as well as she could. And she waited like, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years now, and she's jumped back into school and she's getting great grades because now she's invested. Now she knows why she wants to get that. Give yourself a little bit of grace, I guess, is my point to this, is don't expect your kids to love homeschooling, to just jump all in, but you can walk them towards the benefits of homeschooling. And through that door, they will in turn love the idea of homeschooling, because it's not necessarily maybe school at home that they love. It's the components that come with the closeness of the family, the independence that they're given. There's so many good attributes of it, and that's what you want to focus on. So next time you're feeling defeated, or you're feeling less than, or you don't feel like you're one of those creative moms, it's okay. Don't fret. Don't start trying to do things just because you think it would make homeschooling more fun. There are so many years I jumped in and did lap booking, and some of my kids liked it and some of them didn't. And I had multiple children kind of doing this. And so you can't please everybody all the time. And that is whether you're a teacher with 25 students or if you're at home teaching 1, 2, 4 of your kids. It doesn't matter. You aren't going to please all your kids all the time. So what you have to walk in, instead of that trying to please them or trying to make homeschooling this fun atmosphere that they're going to love homeschooling, I can tell you from all of my 5 kids that have graduated and have gone off to go to college or into their careers, they all will tell you, all 5 of them will look back and say 100% they loved homeschooling. 100% they would do it all over again. Now, if you ask my 15-year-old right now today, does he love homeschooling? What would you say, Boaz?
What?
Do you love homeschooling?
Yes.
No, I'm filming. Be honest.
Yes.
You just told me you didn't like it.
I didn't like subjects. I love homeschooling, and you take it from what kind of
Okay. See, there you go. I don't know if you could hear him. He said he loves homeschooling, but I think he thought that's what I was trying to get him to say. But the truth is, he loves the idea of homeschooling. And if you can wrap your head around that piece and stop trying to achieve this level that's not even achievable, if you can just look at the reality of it, the homeschooling, the points that you're trying to put into your kids, the depth of education, the depth of who God is, and if you want to raise them to be godly kids and pour truth and wisdom and honesty and integrity and resourcefulness, all of those parts, homeschooling opens the door. So I want to encourage you, if you're at a point that you're wondering, should my kids love homeschooling? What if they don't? What do I do then? Don't worry about it. It's not the big deal in that moment. Because if I were to ask my 5 kids who have graduated in that moment, they probably would have answered, no, we don't like school.
If homeschooling is feeling a little overwhelming and even a bit chaotic, I get it. But if you just give me 5 minutes a day, followed by 5 minutes of action, and in 3 days, you will feel a difference. You will feel more peace, more clarity, and have a more purposeful homeschool. This is the exact course I wish I had when I first started homeschooling over 20 years ago. Check out the description for all the details.
But now looking back, they love their experience homeschooling. They would do it over again. And some of them are even going to, I think most of them will homeschool their own kids. Well, I'll say that today. But I want to encourage you, Mom. If you're getting discouraged and you're hearing some of these words like, I don't like school, school's boring, I don't like this subject, don't take it to heart, because it's less about you. And often it's more about the development that they're in, the stage they're in, maybe the curriculum they're in, maybe the subject they're in. Step back and assess it from a bigger, broader perspective. And then you'll be able to see the truth. And when you speak that into them and you point out the goodness of homeschooling, they will in turn appreciate it more. My pastors used to say, things you appreciate tend to get better. Things you depreciate tend to get worse. And that was Pastor Fontaine. And I think it's true with homeschooling. As you help your kids appreciate the aspects, the points, the opportunities that homeschool does, they will in turn be appreciative of homeschooling. And that's what you want. You want them to acknowledge sometimes, and they won't always, but you do want to know that you're on the right track. And if you're asking your 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15, 16-year-old, you might not get the right answer because you're asking it in that moment. So give it a little bit of time. And I can tell you from years of experience and years of having kids that have gone on, We weren't perfect homeschoolers. We didn't do everything right, but we did a lot that really benefited them. All right. As always, stay intentional, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, dog.